Hello everyone, welcome back people. This is the new Dacia Duster. It is the first major makeover for the Duster in a long time. Great color indeed. In fact, they had launched something similar on the Duster Anniversary Edition a little while back, if you remember. But this one looks really nice. I think it's a darker shade of the blue that was launched in India on the Duster. AWD, yes of course Pratyush, it is AWD. It's 4-wheel drive, not AWD, I'm sorry. There you go. Well, the pricing, of course, I don't even know if this car is going to be launched anytime soon. I think it will take a while for the facelift to come. Great, so let's talk about the design. So basically, if you look at the side profile of the car, the hiking boot inspiration that you had on the earlier Duster, I'm not sure if you knew that, but the side profile of the car was inspired by a hiking boot, and that is why these wheel arches that you see, the squared off shape and that bulge, that was basically inspired from the sole of a hiking boot, and that is why that chunky design. So that has been retained. Like I said, it's a major makeover of the current Duster. It is not an all new platform, it's the same platform as the current Duster, but they have made some design changes. Basically, they know that the shape is working for them, they know that the vehicle is still working for them, and it is a robust vehicle, so why change everything? Dacia, as you know, is a low-cost brand from Renault, and low-cost engineering means everything to that brand, and that is why if it ain't broken, why fix it? That's the philosophy behind this car. The windshield, however, is moved forward by about 10 mm, and that is why the A-pillar, if you see, is raked a little more than the Duster. That also increases the cabin space. I'm going to show you the cabin in a bit. Before that, let's quickly take a look at the changes. Those tail lights, that's the biggest change. There's a bit of a Jeep Renegade inspiration in there that I can identify, or at least it reminds me of the Jeep Renegade's tailgate. That 4-wheel drive badging that I showed you there, that gets this plastic shroud on the side. Basically makes the vehicle look a little more chunkier. The wheel arches look a little more flared because of that additional bit of plastic sticking out in there. And those are the new headlamps, split into 3 pods now. There you go. And the new grille. I'm not sure if you can hear me clearly because of the loud music, but that is the design of the car. To let you identify it a little, the changes a little more easily, let me show you the car in the color of the Duster that we are more familiar with. There. It's got a slightly sharper nose now, despite all those chunky elements. There you go. That is with the lights on. Looks quite nice. No LED treatment, of course. I'm going to show you the cabins in a bit. Just give me a sec. There are people sitting inside the cars. But in the meantime, we can look at the rear seat space. I don't see any big improvement in there. And we'll now hop into the front. The steering wheel, of course, will change, will be more Renault specific. That is the new instrumentation. Looks decent. That's the new infotainment. I'm not sure if it's new, it just looks like the old one itself. It just gives me, yeah, there are 4 cameras. Not sure if that feature will come to India. And those are the AC vents. I like how they've integrated those displays again within the knobs. It all looks nice. This is the automatic version. There's a cup holder there. Quite a good packaging in there. Good space. That's a small little cubby hole, a little bit of space here. You also have this armrest. The quality of the plastics, still the scratchy type, nothing different. And the all black layout does make this cabin feel a little claustrophobic. Not really a sporty all black cabin. So yeah, that is what it is. That's the tail again. I'm going to show you the boot. That is the boot. The build quality of the cabin didn't feel any different than the Duster we have used all this while. Still that clunk from the doors. So yeah, that's the Duster. That's another common color for the Duster. Yes, dimensions are largely the same as the outgoing car. Yes, Naveen, you're right. I don't figure out anything by knocking on the dashboard. I just felt like knocking on the dashboard. That is why I did that. In fact, I can't figure out anything just sitting in the car like that, which means I have to drive the car quite a bit, right? I hope that gives you all the info that you need about the new Duster. So by the time it comes to India, I don't think there'll be any change in the drivetrains for the Indian version. This car here is equipped with the familiar DCI 110 engine. There is a 4x2 and a 4x4 drivetrain available as well, like the current Duster. When will it come to India? I'm not yet sure. Hopefully by the Auto Expo we should have a clearer idea of whether this car is coming to India, if yes, when, because Renault is also contemplating bringing in the Renault Captur or the Capture. So whether that car will replace the Duster, because it shares quite a bit of equipment with the Duster and its platform. So that car could make a lot of sense. It doesn't look as utilitarian as this one. It's got slightly better equipment overall, slightly better build quality, and probably that vehicle could make more sense for the Indian market. So we don't know if Renault would want to bring in the Capture and let it coexist with the Duster, or are they going to replace the Duster with the Capture. I think, in my opinion, having both the cars coexist would make more sense. The Duster selling quite well despite its age, and with a facelift like this, I think it could sell more. So I'm just going to go through all your comments. Okay, stay tuned. I'm just going to move over and show you another car. In the meantime, I'm going to quickly go through the comments. Would it be able to give a tough fight to the Compass? Well, not really. There are different segments altogether. The Compass almost starts where the Duster ends, but yeah, it's a robust car. We have lived with the Duster for quite some time. We like its robust build. It's perfect for the Indian roads. Works very well on our road conditions. So the car that I'm going to show you is the car that I mentioned a couple of minutes back. Yeah, maybe. Design is a personal note. I can't check the audio quality. Okay, so this is the Renault Capture, the one that I mentioned a couple of minutes back. This is the car that Renault is contemplating for the Indian market. It shares a lot of equipment with the Duster, but looks slightly smaller in size to me. The design is certainly more contemporary, looks more upmarket. Let me show you the cabin. Now, doesn't that look familiar? Doesn't that look exactly like what we have in the Duster back home? But look at the instrumentation. It looks different, but again, look at that little display in the center. Okay, the key is not around, so I can't show it to you, but that little display in the center reminds me of the Quid, because a little while back the car was running, and the fonts or the display is very much like what we have in the Quid. That is the media nav system again, but in a different layout. The bezels are of course different. The overall layout of the dash is a little different. There you go. This again is an automatic. This also gets heated seats for the European market. So like I said, equipment wise, it's better than the Duster. The AC vents, the design of the AC vents is different. Okay, so the network is really bad, but yeah, that is the Renault Capture. Nice contrasting roof. That is the tail. It doesn't look outdated to me. If you compare it to something like the Duster, it certainly doesn't look outdated. It's got a nice design to it. It looks a little more premium, but yeah, it looks quite compact. It's not a creepy design. Come on, guys. It's not that bad. Probably the lighting's not good. But anyway, that is the Renault Capture. It is being considered for India. Another SUV that is also being considered, we are told, is this. this could fill into the void that the Renault Koleos left after it was discontinued a little while back. If it comes, it will compete with the likes of the Jeep Compass. This will fill into that price bracket. I'm going to quickly show you the cabin. That's the cabin. Familiar Renault steering wheel, but looks more upmarket. Look at that instrumentation. And that's the center console for you. A more upmarket looking car. Quite spacious, panoramic sunroof as well. This has all the ingredients to make it successful in India if that exterior design is accepted by the Indian audience. Rahil, I think it's the other way around. I like the cabin better than the exterior. The design is, the grille is a little too big for my liking, and that Renault logo right in the center, I don't know, it looks a little funny to me. But what really looks good is actually the new Koleos. It's right here. It's got that quirky big LED daytime running light there. It's just humongous. But I think the car looks quite smart despite its quirky design. That's the new Koleos. It's certainly become a more pricier vehicle now. If it does come to India, which is highly unlikely, it still won't fit into the same bracket that it was earlier. This will now be a more expensive car, and that is down to that cabin as well. The instrumentation, again, a big digital display right in the center, and that infotainment. A vertical screen, something very similar to the Volvos. Certainly not the same quality, but seems inspired from the Volvos. Also gives this dashboard a nice upright theme which goes with its SUV character. Look at those nice headrests. Look at those. They're not pillows, but the headrests look good. The seats also look nice, big, accommodating seats. And this one's got a ventilation function as well. And this is the rear seat space. The doors are nice and wide. I really like it. The doors are nice and wide. Getting in and out of this car should be very easy. In fact, it is. Wow, it just feels nice in here. The quality of materials is really good. The Koleos has become an expensive car now, expensive SUV now. Not sure if Renault will bring it to India. The design looks expensive as well. It looks premium. The outgoing Koleos to me wasn't a pretty looking car, but this one really looks good. So that's the SUV lineup from Renault. Like I showed you earlier, the Dacia Duster expected to come to India sometime next year. The Renault Captur, which is being considered. The Kadjar, which we also hear is being considered, and the Koleos, which I hope Renault brings to the Indian market. I am going to end this video right here, and we'll take a look at one last car before we go. No, it's not this. This is Renault's vision of the future performance car. It looks like a Formula 1 car from the future. Renault call it the Renault RS 2027 vision. That is their vision of a race car probably from the future, when things go all electric. Anyway, but that's not the last car that I'm going to show you. I will come online again in exactly 5 minutes, so stay tuned. Don't go anywhere. It's the last vehicle that I'm going to show you, and it's an SUV that is probably worth waiting for. Stay tuned.